It's now time for NRG This Week. NRG stands for Network Referral Group. To learn more about NRG, go to their website, nrg.online. It's now time for another episode of NRG This Week.
Hey everybody, Mike Weiner here, NRG CEO and founder, coming at you with another episode of NRG. This week it is now August 19th, 2026. Teachers are starting to go back to school. We're going to be moving in the fall soon with football. I want to talk to you a little bit about NRG. I'm a full service networking organization, been around over 25 and a half years. We ran live meetings. COVID hit, we pivoted. I got to tell you, we have never been hotter. The last 2 months, 10 weeks, has been astronomically exploding. We have added more excitement, more members. My cell number, if you want to reach me, come check out a meeting on me. It's 443-756-9656. Send me a text. We'll schedule you. We've got now 29 live meetings on Zoom every single week around the country, around the world. My email, mike@networkreferralgroup.com, and the website is nrg.online. We've got a university on there. We've just added AI. And Brian Parnell, he was on last week. Next week, we've got Elena Schwartz is on. Today, we've got Lynn. I'm going to tell you about Lynn in a minute. But we've just added AI. It's about a $720 premium package for free for NRG members. Did I say it right? Free. So you come into a meeting, you get 3 referrals. Once you join, it's $950. That's it for the year. You're going to get a $720 premium AI package for free. We've got an extravaganza coming up September 18th, 2026. Elena Schwartz, our keynote speaker. She'll be here next week. We're going to talk with her. If you're interested in sponsoring, being a sponsor, reach out to me. Our guest today is Lynn. She's out of New York. She reads tarot cards for a living. Been doing this for, I believe, 13 years now. If you like tarot cards, which I love, great. If you don't like tarot cards, great. You'll call in and she will take care of your false, incorrect assumptions about it. She's going to like how I said that when I introduced her. So I'm big into disco. So coming at you, Studio 54, we're going to bring on Lynn right now from the great state of New York. And interestingly, the Orioles and the Yankees are playing right now. So I was either going to have you or Norman, Lynn, but I've had Norman on. So Lynn, how are you doing on this August 19th? How's life treating you?
I'm doing great since I got chosen over the ball game. Yeah.
There you go.
Great so far. It's Leo season. It's my favorite one.
I got you. It's great to have you here. You know, you joined NRG very recently, and I remember when you came, I think it was Seattle. You came to Seattle. We talked afterwards. We went over where you've had success and maybe not in other groups. And we had a really nice, I think, pivotal conversation. You decided to jump in. And we're going to talk about what you did in 3 weeks, which has never happened. We have a regular membership. We have a lifetime. Tell us, you read tarot cards for a living. Very interesting. What's the backstory? Why did you get involved in this industry? And obviously, you've become very successful. A lot of the members have really, they're drinking the Lynn lemonade right along with the Mike lemonade. What was the backstory for you to get involved in this industry? And then in a minute, we're going to talk about 3 minutes, what the industry is. But what's the backstory?
Sure thing, Mike. So I didn't start off as a tarot reader. I don't come from a family of mystics. I started my career as a college financial aid administrator. So everything from filling out the FAFSA, applying for student loans and grants, um, debt management for the alumni. That was my main career. And I was thrilled doing that thing. And then one night I had a dream of my hands shuffling tarot cards. And in the dream, I could only see these like blue and white cards. I couldn't see any card faces. And so, long story short, I looked and looked. I didn't find the deck. Months later, I started dating my domestic partner, and he purchased me that deck, unbeknownst to either one of us, as a gift. And when I got the deck and opened it and recognized it, it was like a feeling I had never felt before. Like the hair stood up on my arms, and I said, "Well, I guess we're doing this now." And when we got the deck, we also got a postcard for an event that was happening in Brooklyn a few weeks later, run by a group called Tarot Society. And the event took place in a yoga studio. It was like 10, 15 tarot readers, and people would come in and they could get readings from as many different readers as they wanted to. Or if they were interested in tarot and they didn't know how to read cards, they could ask one of the readers to kind of like share some tips. So that's what I went in thinking was going to happen. Oh, I'm going to like talk to some people about how can I develop this skill. And when I did my first reading, it was good enough that the person I did the reading for introduced me to a woman named Darcy Leonard, who was in charge of Tarot Society. And she took one look and said, "I like your vibe. Come read with us next month." And so that next month I showed up. I had never read for strangers before. And I said, wow, this could go a lot of different ways. But it came surprisingly easily. And I've been reading professionally ever since.
You know, most of our dreams we don't even remember. So the fact you articulated it very succinctly what happened in the dream. So obviously that's from the power above. I mean, that's just absolutely amazing that you remember the dream. You know, when I run, thank you for explaining that too. That is really cool. Well, you and I have not got to the backstory. I knew we would get to it here. When I run an NRG meeting, my purpose is to create this art, to create this family atmosphere, law of attraction, and positivity. When you go to read when you go to read the cards, what is your goal, your mission, your mindset prior to doing a reading with somebody? And you, by the way, you did a reading with me within 72 hours, and whatever I thought of you then, I liked you, and then I was like, I love this woman. It was a great reading. What is your kind of your mindset when you read somebody's cards?
I like to separate the fear mongering that happens around tarot. The reality is, we're all human beings. We all have the same, capabilities to different degrees. And I think this is just a function of intuition. When we look at how animals communicate with each other, they're not talking, they're not signing. There's a lot that is soundless, and yet they understand each other. And I think this is just a skill that over time human beings have lost. And then when you start layering things like, well, this religion says this and this belief says this, people are afraid. And so the first thing I like to do is create a space and say, hey, there's nothing that's going to happen. The table's not going to catch on fire. Nothing's going to follow you home. You're not going to be in any kind of trouble. And then I want people to have at least something similar to the experience that I have, the sensation of having information come in that didn't come out of your brain, that didn't come out of something that you saw or that you heard, that moment of there's something else that I can't explain. And to me, that is the magical moment, because when somebody experiences that, they can never be fooled by somebody who purports to create that sort of experience. And it gives them a sense of curiosity. And some people say, well, I'm going to take that curiosity to church. And some people say, I'm going to take that curiosity to my spiritual retreat. And some people are going to take that curiosity to their armchair. But they had an experience that meant something and created some kind of shift. That's the
I love
goal.
it. I love it. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Can you share with us, obviously, I'm not mentioning their name, but a client testimonial where you read the cards and it really impacted someone? Maybe it was a shift. Maybe they saved a marriage. They switched jobs. They started their own business. Could you give us an example? Because there's people watching this now. It's being recorded. And you got to realize too, Lynn, someone may see this today, tomorrow, 5 years, 10 years. It's out there. They could see it on Mars in 5 years with whatever Elon Musk is doing these days. But share a testimonial of one of your clients.
I will share a short story that involves two. So, one event that I was at, it was a conference that I was attending, and the night before I was sleeping at the hotel, and I had that feeling like, something's here, because I also sense spirits. And I didn't think much of it because that's a very typical experience for a hotel. But the next evening, I met the spouse of someone who had passed away, who was part of that organization. And the spouse was not into tarot, was very skeptical, and in fact had a granddaughter that was kind of caught up with a manipulative reader that kept like, more readings, give me more money. And so he had a really bad sense of what I was doing. And so later on that evening, I was doing my party reads, and he asked if I could watch. I said, sure, have a seat. So this person sat next to me for 3 hours and watched me do reading after reading for this organization. In one reading that stood out in particular, I did a reading for a woman who was pregnant, and that came through in the reading through one of the cards that was pulled. And the reading explained that the person she was with was going to be a good husband and was going to be a good father, and she had nothing to worry about. And so that to her was a super relief because she wasn't showing yet. So this was kind of a thing that nobody knew about. The gentleman next to me who had been watching still had it in his mind that this is not a thing that can really happen. And he constructed this like Ocean's 11 story, like, well, I saw you glance at her and she could have talked to the waitress, who could have said the bartender, who could have given a signal to the person across the room. And it's like, what do you think is happening here? Like that would be so much coordination. And for what? And so the evening went on, and by the end of the night, this person came with me, into the elevator and just thanked me for allowing me to sit there and told me that I had given him a lot to think about. So, you can't expect everybody to do a 180 the minute they sit down at a tarot table. You can't expect somebody after a couple hours of watching to say, hey, I've completely changed my worldview. But I think it's important to allow people the experience and allow people to kind of have their own revelations at their own pace. We're all on a different journey.
Love it. I love it. That was a great testimonial. I'm sure the woman was ecstatic that the husband was going to be a good father. So that's just amazing. All right, one more question, and then we're going to take a commercial break. And then on the flip side, we're going to talk sports. We're going to talk disco. I'm going to ask you for an NRG testimonial, but I want you to go a little bit deeper on the word vibe. I've been thinking about this. You've come in. What a vibe. Sue came in. Rick's come in. I got to tell you, I have never, ever, ever been more excited about NRG. I'm blowing my voice out. There's a vibe here, Lynn, and you're a big part of it. You joined NRG within 3 weeks. I kid you not. You sent me a text. I'm not going to go over the whole text, but it basically said your desire to move up to lifetime member. Guys, we only have I think 8 lifetime members. That's a $5,000 level. We just did a quarterly networking Zoom. Myself, Lori Lundeen, our director of networking, just did that Friday. I'm talking to several more people about being a lifetime. So, Lynn, take us through what's your NRG testimonial, two-part question, and what's this word vibe? Because I know that was a big part of you moving from where you were to figuratively saying, I'm going to put my hat here in this organization. This is where I want to be till the end of time. What's your testimonial? What does this word vibe mean to you? I know what it means to me. I pretty much know what it means to you, but I don't know that people get that we're a family. We're way more than a networking group. We're a movement. We're a spirit. We're positivity. We're law of attraction. It's so hard for people to wrap their head around. But what's your testimonial? And then what is the word vibe? And how did that? I've asked you three questions. How did that? You'll handle. I know you'll handle it with grace. How did that impact you in reaching out to me and going, I got to reach out to Mike. I want to be a lifetime member. I'm going to let you take it from here.
I'll answer them in some kind of order. So, as you can imagine, tarot reader is not the easiest gig to walk into networking situations. I'm a very outgoing person. I had a career before that was very different. And so I'm used to being in front of people and in front of authority figures. So that's not, a turnoff for me. But it's a very different dynamic introducing yourself to the world as a financial aid administrator versus a tarot reader. You can be wearing the same outfit and, kind of projecting the same vibes, and people do or don't really accept that. And so what stood out at NRG was that I didn't get that, hi, I'm Lynn, I'm a tarot reader, and people start turning off their cameras or the room just goes eerily quiet. We talk about vibes. I think most people feel vibes. That's really what we're saying. It's what is the feel? What is the sensation? If people are arguing, that's a vibe that you feel. If people are crying or laughing, that's a vibe that you feel. You put yourself in someone's presence and you kind of absorb the general emotional undertone. And so when you have people together, if you're at a ball game and people are cheering for the team, that's a vibe and you feel swept up by that euphoria of the crowd. Conversely, if you're at a funeral and people are grieving, you feel that vibe and you feel the sadness. And so for someone like myself that works in energy, that vibe is everything. It's one thing to say, I'm going to work a 3-hour event and whatever kind of vibe those people are bringing, I'll sit in for 3 hours. It's another thing to say, well, I'm going to pivot my practice from events to private clients, and I want to be intentional about what people are going to be my clients and where they're coming from. New York City has 9 million people, but if they're all a weird vibe or a low vibe, that makes my day-to-day kind of difficult. But at NRG, people were just so genuine and sincere and bringing their best energy to the meetings, bringing this sense of I'm going to sincerely help you out and not just throw any old name at you because I feel like I should, but being intentional about the connections that are made. And, just from talking to the NRG members, there are so many people who are also very intuitive, very connected, that are not professional tarot readers, but are just, everyday people walking around. And so, being able to pick up on that vibe isn't something you need to be an energy worker to do. All of us have that capacity. It's just, how much are we paying attention, and have we figured out yet how important it is to our quality of life to put ourselves with people who are higher vibration? Birds of a feather.
Yeah, that was a great answer. And you know what? I'm going to summarize everything you just said in 4 words: higher vibration. And the one I really like, I've never heard this, emotional undertone. Because, I always say I talk fast, I listen faster. I'm taking notes. If I'm looking down, I'm taking notes, Lynn. Emotional undertone. Because, sometimes you go to an event, could be family, could be something else. And the vibe, I find that if it's not a good enough vibe, I need to get out of there. I just need to, because I'm one of those people like yourself. Funeral's different. You got to be there. You're trying to make sure everybody's happy. But if it's some other event, people are just complaining about news or whatever. I don't buy it. I don't watch that stuff anyway. So, Lynn, it's absolutely been great talking with you. I'm going to mention racquetballrevival.com. That is Leon, one of his passions. He works with kids, young kids, all the way to adults. He mentors them with racquetball and a lot of social skills. But I wanted to give him a quick shout out. We're going to take a commercial break. On the flip side, we are going to find out Lynn's favorite, and I already know it, but I'm going to ask her favorite football team, NFL, and her favorite disco song. We will be right back after this commercial break.
At Rod's Car Repairs, we work on all cars, old cars, new cars, and your car. Car Repairs by Rod.io.
Baked by Brianna has been your Baltimore hometown bakery since 1969. Located in Roxton Plaza, Baked by Brianna. Visit bakedbybrianna.io.
From the creative team that brought you The Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
Water. It's everywhere. We drink it, we bathe with it, we cook with it. Coffee's made with water. Toilets won't flush without it. It's used for washing clothes, dishes, utensils, pots, pans, floors, and our teeth. Plants and crops need water, animals drink it, and fish need it too. And don't forget, we can have a lot of fun in the water. Water. What will we do without it?
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
We are back, NRG, this week, having a great conversation with Lynn. And Lynn, I am going to ask you, what have I not asked you? Take 2-3 minutes. Is there a special part of what you do? It can be, I always say to people, it can be personal. It probably would be better business, but is there some message you want to get across? Maybe it's a message you want to get across to the folks. Because, the advantage you have with me was I already had a base knowledge. So many people, they don't know what they don't know, and your professionalism, your vibe, your energy, your passion, your professionalism. I mean, there's so many words I could describe you. And I love having you as a lifetime member. And I call you my friend. If you guys are ever in Maryland, Tanya, I would love to meet with you guys. If we're up to New York, we may get up there. I want to see the Rockettes. I don't think I've ever seen them, and I keep telling Tanya we're going to go. It may not be this year. We'll have to plan for next year. But what would be your message that you haven't said yet, or a different angle? And then we'll talk sports and disco. But I want to give you this time. It could be a summary too. Whatever you'd like to do.
I look forward to meeting you and Tanya when the moment arrives.
Absolutely.
I think the main message that I would get out there is that most people, regardless of their, spiritual or religious traditions, they actually believe the same things. They believe the same things. They want the same things. They have the same desires. Um, Everything else is just kind of our own personal experience layered onto stories. So I would just say, when you look at the person sitting next to you, they're really not that different at all.
I love that. I love that. Well, it has been a lot of fun. So let's talk NFL football. The preseason has started. They're dying to know. You're in New York. I would think it'd be the Jets or the Giants, but you're going to throw everybody baseball. You're going to throw them a curveball. Who is your favorite NFL football team?
I do like throwing people the curveball. So my favorite football team is the Dallas Cowboys, and that has been our family team. My father was a Dallas Cowboys fan back in the 70s, and then our whole family moved forward. So at first I remember the Cowboys not being the cool team. We lost all the games, but boy, if it wasn't a big part of Thanksgiving. I mean, Thanksgiving for my family every year is watching the football game. And we saw.
I think of the Cowboys. I think of like Roger Staubach, Emmett Smith. They've had some great, and you're right. They always play Thanksgiving. You always see them on Thanksgiving. So
I will never forget how Emmett Smith used to help everybody up after they would get knocked down. You would always see Emmett Smith, no matter,
that's pretty cool.
Liked the team, hated the team. He would always help people up. He was a great guy.
That's very cool. Very cool. All right. Last question. Disco. I'm a disco. I love disco. So it can be anywhere from, I'll prompt you a little bit. Donna Summer, Village People, Casey and the Sunshine Band, who Tanya I saw the day after I proposed to her. That was a hell of a concert. She grew up more in the 80s. I'm 70s. Do you have a favorite disco song?
I probably have lots of favorite disco songs because I also do like some ballroom dancing secretly, and every once in a while I'll crash a hustle dance. Let's go with Diana Ross, Upside Down, You Turn Me.
Upside Down. I remember when that came out. It was Upside Down, I'm Coming Out. I think she's still singing. Norman does tribute bands, but I think the real Diana Ross is still saying Upside Down was a big hit, big mega hit. My favorite disco song is Get Down on It, Kool and the Gang. Love that song.
Great
and
song.
I've got a lot of favorite ones. So, Lynn, it has been an absolute pleasure talking with you today. I really love your definition of vibe. For folks out there, reach out to Lynn. Come check out NRG, and I'm going to take 2 minutes, Lynn, and kind of wrap up here. But Lynn, I appreciate you being here. I really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit more and also sharing your story and your riveting testimonial. I think that's amazing. So, Lynn, thank you so much for being here on NRG this week. I always like to say the dates because people are going to look at this in the future, August 19, 2026. So thank you very much, Lynn.
Thank you, Mike. It's my pleasure.
You're welcome. So I'm going to wrap up, guys, NRG this week. If you haven't been to an NRG meeting, I'm just going to leave you with my cell number. Please send me a text. It's 443-756-9656. We are the premier networking organization. We are growing. We've added AI. It's just the extravaganza's coming up. We're going to have Elena Schwartz next week, and Elena's my top coach. She just renewed for her 4th year, but reach out to me. I would love to meet you, help you network. And we've been doing this over 25 and a half years. People like Lynn are coming in and they're getting results. So I want to thank you on behalf of Leon Thomas and myself. Jay, the producer, Jay always does a phenomenal job. Appreciate everybody here at the Leon Thomas Group. We will see you next week for another episode of NRG This Week. Until next week, we will see you. Thank you.